I bought the villa to escape people. That might sound ironic now, but back then, it made perfect sense. After 15 years of grinding, long nights, missed holidays, and more burned-out mornings than I could count, I finally had enough saved to buy something just for myself. Not an investment flip, not a rental, not something I'd list on Airbnb for strangers to trash. I wanted quiet. The villa sat just outside a coastal town in Florida, tucked into a private gated community that marketed itself as exclusive, serene, and professionally managed. Palm trees lined the roads. The ocean breeze carried that salty calm that makes your shoulders drop without you realizing it. It wasn't massive, but it was perfect. 2 stories, white stone exterior, a wraparound balcony overlooking the water, floor-to-ceiling windows that lit the place up like a postcard. And yes, there was an HOA. I hesitated at first. Everyone knows HOA horror stories, but this one seemed mild. The rules were basic: no loud noise after 10 p.m., lawn maintenance standards, no structural changes without approval. Fine, I wasn't planning on anything wild. The HOA president at the time was a woman named Karen Whitmore. I wish I were joking about the name. She was in her late 40s, always dressed like she was attending a brunch fundraiser, and spoke with the confidence of someone who had never been told no in her entire life. During the welcome meeting, she smiled too much, nodded too slowly, and made a point of saying, "We like to keep our community very orderly." Something about the way she said "our" rubbed me wrong, but I ignored it. Big mistake. For the first year, everything was fine. I visited the villa once every couple of months, sometimes alone, sometimes with friends. No parties, no noise, no issues. Until one random Thursday afternoon, I got a phone call from a neighbor I barely knew. "Hey, do you know what's happening at your place?" I laughed. "Probably nothing. Why?" There was a pause. "Well, there's a DJ, and about 30 people, and someone just carried a keg inside." I thought it was a joke. It wasn't. I pulled up the security cameras on my phone. At first, my brain refused to process what I was seeing. Strangers were everywhere. People I had never seen before were lounging on my balcony. Someone was leaning against my railing with a drink in hand. Music blasted through open doors. Decorations, actual decorations, hung across the windows. Then I saw her, Karen, standing in the middle of my living room. She was laughing, hosting, acting like she owned the place. I immediately called her. She didn't answer. I called again, straight to voicemail. My stomach dropped. I called the HOA emergency line. A volunteer answered and sounded uncomfortable. "Oh yes," she said carefully. "President Whitmore approved an event at that property." "That's my property," I said slowly. "No one approved anything." There was silence. Then, well, our records show otherwise. That sentence flipped a switch in my brain. "What records?" Another pause. "She submitted documentation." I booked the next flight out. No hesitation, no delay. When I arrived the next day, the party was still going. Still going. I walked straight up to my front door, and it was locked. My key didn't work. Before I could even react, Karen stepped outside, wine glass in hand, smiling like she'd been expecting me. "Oh, you're here early." Early. I asked her what the hell she thought she was doing. She didn't even flinch. She told me, calmly, confidently, that she owned the villa now. I laughed in her face. She smiled wider. And then she showed me a deed, with my address, and her name. I knew immediately it was fake. You don't forget your own signature. But here's the thing about entitlement. It doesn't rely on truth. It relies on confidence. Karen called the police, on me. She told them I was trespassing. She told them I was harassing her guests. She told them she had legally acquired the property and that I was a disgruntled former owner refusing to let go. The officers looked at the deed. They looked at me. And then they did something that made my blood boil. They asked me to leave. Not arrested, not detained, just removed. I spent the night in a hotel, shaking with rage, calling my lawyer, pulling every document I had ever signed. By morning, the truth started surfacing. The deed had been filed after a suspicious HOA emergency meeting. The notary stamp belonged to a notary who had been retired for 2 years. And Karen? She had already planned another party for that weekend. That's when I stopped playing nice. My lawyer contacted the county clerk, then the fraud division, then the police again, this time with evidence. Meanwhile, Karen threw the biggest party yet. Caterers, valet parking, live band. She invited local influencers. She bragged. She told people she had taken control of the villa because I was an absentee owner who didn't respect the community. And then the police arrived. Not 2 officers, 8. fraud investigators, county officials. Karen tried to laugh it off until they put her in handcuffs. In front of everyone. The deed? Forgery. The HOA vote? Fabricated. The signatures? Copied. She wasn't just removed from the property. She was arrested on the spot. Karen lost everything. Her HOA position, her reputation, her freedom for a while. The HOA was dissolved and replaced with professional management. And my villa? It's quiet again. Peaceful. But I installed more cameras. Because entitlement doesn't disappear. It just looks for new targets. And if you ever think someone wouldn't fake ownership just because they want something, remember this story. Because I didn't think so either.